Yeah. Bismillah. You can start now, inshallah. Okay, Jennifer, you can start now.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I hope everyone is well and content today, inshallah. So in review of the previous material, I'd just like to go over the introduction, if not for just myself, for anyone else who may benefit. The introduction to this text and this portion, this consists of 2 points comprising a concise explanation of one comprehensive result of the numerous spiritual benefits of belief in resurrection and of its vital consequences, a demonstration of how essential it is for human life and especially for the life of a society, a summary of one universal proof out of numerous proofs of the tenet of belief in the resurrection, and a statement of how indubitable and self-evident it is that tenet of belief. The first point at the beginning of this section was, we shall indicate as a measure only 4 out of hundreds of proofs that belief in the hereafter is fundamental to the life of society and to man's personal life, and is the basis of his happiness, prosperity, and achievement. Last week, we ended with the 3rd proof, so we will go on to the 4th proof. The most comprehensive center of man's worldly life and its mainspring, and a paradise, refuge, and fortress of worldly happiness is the life of the family. Everyone's home is a small world for him, and the life and happiness of his home and family are possible through genuine, earnest, and loyal respect, and true, tender, and self-sacrificing compassion. This true respect and genuine kindness may be achieved with the idea of the members of the family having an everlasting companionship and friendship and togetherness, and their parental, filial, and brotherly and friendly relations continuing for all eternity in a limitless life, and their believing this. One says, for example, my wife will be my constant companion in an everlasting world and eternal life. It does not matter if she is now old and ugly, for she will have an immortal beauty. He will tell himself that he will be as kind and devoted as he can for the sake of that permanent companionship, and treat his elderly wife lovingly and kindly as if she were a beautiful hur. A companionship that was to end in eternal separation after an hour or two of brief, apparent friendship would otherwise afford only superficial, temporary, feigned, animal-like feelings, and false compassion and artificial respect. As with animals, self-interest and other overpowering emotions would prevail over the respect and compassion, transforming that worldly paradise into hell. Would you like me to pause here?
As you like, as you feel, you can finish it until the 2nd point and go over and review.
Very
and
well.
Share your ideas and what you have taken away from.
Okay. Thus, excuse me, one of the hundreds of results of belief in resurrection is connected with the life of society. If a comparison is made between the above 4 proofs out of the hundreds of aspects and benefits of this single consequence and the rest, it will be understood that the realization of the truth of resurrection and its occurrence are as certain as the elevated reality of humanity and its universal need. It is clearer even than the evidence for the existence of food offered by the existence of need in man's stomach, and tells of its existence even more clearly. And it proves that if the consequences of the truth of resurrection were to quit humanity, whose nature is extremely significant, lofty, and living, it would descend to being a corrupt corpse fed on by microbes. So I will preface that I kind of live in solitude. So I don't get that often to converse with people and exercise my brain muscles. So forgive me if my thoughts are very basic. Um, I felt from this that the promise of having this companionship after resurrection was a promise of beauty and wonder in enduring any hardships experienced in companionship or with a family, the struggles, the striving to provide best for your family. And that the joy with having a family that would last forever. So any of the bonds, any of the beautiful experiences in life for a man and his family would be forever. If anyone would like to exercise some more thought on this and share with us, it would be greatly appreciated.
Really, our friends are so quiet. So, since I think the room must be a bit alive, so I said, okay, let me say something because this is important for me, for my wife, or for my wife. Of course, as far as she's concerned, me getting old and nervous, and everybody develops certain habits. When you get old, it is very difficult to change. You become very sensitive, and anything starts annoying you. So old age is really difficult to take care of. So the people become the parents, our relationship with our children, maybe our children's relationship with us becomes so sensitive, fragile. So if I see any kind of a bit gloomy face, for example, from my wife, from my children, I become really upset because of the sensitivity of the old age. So that means the relationship between the family members become not really very happy as it used to be when we were young, going out, running around and enjoying life. Now, difficulties, illnesses, different kinds of problems, worries about the future, etc. People, I mean, human beings are impacted, affected by these factors. So we use. I feel that human beings start losing their hope of happiness, enjoying the family life. But the news about the hereafter and everything will be eternally at the best level. It is so amazing, so interesting. It is so fitting human nature, so fitting human nature. Why? I don't want to lose my faith in my family members. My wife, most probably my wife also doesn't want to lose her faith about me, about her children, about our children, maybe grandchildren as well. But this world, as we get older, becomes harder and harder to have a loving relationship with each other because of the human sensitivity. The news of hereafter or resurrection just arrives at our aid and says, look, you don't want this. your feeling about not wanting unhappiness is given to me, given to you by me. I gave it to you. So you are in need of happiness, which has no end. I will definitely uh, fulfill it. I will definitely satisfy it, because that need is created by me in you, so that you will look for the solution for it. Where can I find it? How can I? It is so disappointing, especially young people when they get married, when they are blessed with a baby. I feel that they are so excited, so loving. And now, because my children are almost 40 years old, so I say, after certain age, you will lose this pleasure. It is how the order of the universe is established, and you will have lots of troubles, especially with the juvenile or the young teenage period, when these teenage problems arise. Family tensions become so unbearable. The children don't listen to you. They say, don't want to listen to you. You don't understand. I know the best. They don't know. And you become very disappointed. I see them, after 15 years or 16 years, you will have troubles. But human beings don't want it. This desire certifies that the one who created me is promising me that this will be over. Just be patient and have hope for your future, hope for the future. The news of the resurrection, of course, there are evidences in the creation, but apart from this, a verbal promise from our Creator saying that, yes, I am able to give you, I will give you because I created you with the need for it. That need for it is a promise from me. So take it seriously and don't lose your hope. That is what human beings can stay in existence or in their life. If there is no hope, it means life turns into a nightmare. But if there is a hope, for example, if I am suffering from an illness, but the doctor says, don't worry, take these tablets, a few days later, you will become perfect. As soon as you hear this voice, before you become perfect, you become very healthy, regain your health, you start feeling happy. That is how human beings are created. This news just fits human nature perfectly. This news of resurrection. The fourth proof is also is specifically related to family relationship and how the news of the resurrection affects the family relationship. The others were mentioning about other aspects of human life. So that is what I understood from the fourth proof.
I'd like to also comment something that I have always kind of had as a little mantra for my own living, because so many times people say you can't change the world, you can't, affect everybody, you have to start small or whatever. And so I would always think that if I'm going to improve anything, I can look at my space as my little universe and have an effect on that. So where the second sentence says everyone's home is a small world for him, that immediately makes me think of that thing. Like if we concentrate on our own small world in our home and the family, then we have a universe of happiness right there. And if that is the center of everything, and that is where we find our peace and where we grow our spirituality and we share our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything starts there, then it does affect going outward into the community and outward into the city and outward into your state or your country. And I would always tell my friends, like, if I make my little universe the best that it can be, and my neighbor makes their universe the best that it can be, and those edges meet, then slowly, like, the goodness will come across everywhere, inshallah. So I think that's very important for a family to focus on the nucleus, the center is their family. And all of these points that they're making after that, this type of happiness is possible through genuine and earnest, loyal respect and true, tender, self-sacrificing compassion. So in this day and age when we have selfies, we have, trying to make ourselves look better on social media, maybe than things actually are. But if instead we're not so focused on projecting it outwards, but actually focusing on inwards and what we can do for ourselves and for our family, our nucleus, even our, if we live away from our parents or the rest of the family, then if we still focus and keep that bond, that is something that can be grown upon. Like, that's the basic, and then things can be built on that. Does anyone else have any comment? I invite anyone to speak. Could it be that people can't open their own microphone, or they can raise their hand if they need to speak? I don't know.
However they prefer, as long as they are willing to contribute. We are happy with them. Writing, just unmuting themselves, or just raising hands, whatever they prefer. It's free.
Okay. So then the going back to those points, the loyal respect and true, tender, self-sacrificing compassion is achievable with the members of the family having an everlasting companionship and friendship and togetherness. So, within a family, the bond is so strong with their parents, sisters and brothers, that this is something lasting. And I find, being aware of situations that are not so true to this, if there is abuse in a family, or people are struggling to have those bonds, that those things are real too. And it's difficult to say where a person will learn these attributes. It could be from friends or teachers, or studying Quran. But I wonder how this affects someone's belief in the hereafter, in the resurrection. Does it have an impact? makes me question that. Like, is it even more of a struggle, perhaps, for hope? Please, Saira.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you for your reflections. This is really relatable, and I have a lot to say too about the topic, just from personal experience as well, and from how I learned it growing up from my teachers. Allah says that He will test us with that we love the most, right? And I believe that's family, right? And like my mother always said, like one of the toughest tests is being a mother, right? And because these are your own children that were literally, like, I don't know, designed within your own body. And part of what you were saying earlier about the closeness and like it's probably the best or the closest relation you'll ever have. You shared a womb, like me and my brother and sisters, like we were in the same mother womb. That's why it's like, you would die for them, you would do XYZ, and that stuff is great. But at the same time, I believe it truly is probably one of the toughest tests. And that's because like it's because you love them so much that, like, it hurts. It hurts like hell if like something bad happens, right? Or if, like, it's like, oh man, you wronged me or you did this, but I can't even hate you like that because of XYZ. And just like Dr. Ali was saying earlier, when you grow up and you become like older adults, 40s, 50s, that relationship does change, because we are flux humans, and it's like, how do you deal with that now? And I see that with my dad and his siblings, like his uncles and whatnot. It is the toughest test, is your own family. And going back to the how does this reflect in Jannah? I don't know. I feel like, it's because it's the biggest test, it does weigh really heavy compared to like other things, compared to, friend relationships and I don't know, neighbors too. Love thy neighbor, like that is a big thing too. But I think family, like that's a big one. Actually, I have a question regarding that. They say in heaven, like, are your parents going to be your parents? Because everyone is supposed to be the same age, apparently. And so I don't know how that works. But, like reflecting on the family thing, because throughout our whole life, we have this identity. Like, I am from the Chaudhry family, right? And my whole family, we share the last name. This is my identity that I've known. But in Jannah, is it going to be like that? I don't know. So I just had that question, if anyone knows the answer to that. But yeah, thank you.
Dr. Ali, would you like to comment on that? Inshallah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I said a whole lot. I'm sorry.
No, it's the beautiful question and a beautiful concern. Since we are going to be on the same age, so how can I know it is my father? We are at the same age. That is interesting. Of course, we wonder. Now, I appreciate that. Of course, we wonder, and we have every right to wonder what will happen in the hereafter. But there's a big but. What is that? In the Quranic news and also in our experience of this world, we are not going to have the same kind of existence. That is inevitable. Why? As we see this world, we are experiencing it. If the hereafter or next creation is going to be like this, why should we be taken away from this world and brought into the same living conditions or existence conditions? Why? So the point in the hereafter or in another creation is here is very important. Our body experiences here always transience, aging. Yeah, you are ready to get away from this kind of existence. So get ready for another kind of existence according to the capacity of your own development of your spirit, your feelings, your relationship, your understanding, comprehension. So accordingly, you will be given another status. For example, if someone is just a naive in one subject, they just learning, so he will have a lower position. But if someone is really very much has improved his capacity, what happens? They will put him on a higher post or higher position, maybe the CEO of a company, something like that. Because body is the same, but maybe older even, but the experience requires a new type of practices. So hereafter is a new type of practices according to the capacity that we have increased, developed, and we got to know our Creator in a better way. So Creator is going to reward this understanding, this capacity in a better way. So my experience of living, experience of life must be different from this kind of life. And also, in addition to our experience of this world, God's speech makes it clear that the next creation will be completely different. It is going to be a new type of creation that you have never, ever experienced. Now, I love my children, and I always dream of them as they were 5, 6 years. They are lovely, they are friendly, they are funny. Everything they do makes us feel happy. They are 40 years old, but I'm seeing them as 5 years old. Oh, that's dream. Oh, dream is an act of creation. Who is creating dream? Who is creating the ability to dream of something? The one who created me. It is a news again. Although they are 40 years old, but I can communicate with them in my dream. It is not a false thing. Yes, as far as the reality of this world is, a dream is different. We cannot really rely on them according to the conditions of this world. But the one who creates the human ability to dream of something that is not real in terms of this world, this same one can create you another world where you can experience your loving parents, your loving children, lovely children, your loving brothers and sisters in the best way. Because not only the Quran says it is going to be a completely new creation so that it will worth being transferred into another creation, existence, another type of existence. It will be worth. And also the Prophet explains in great details that everything, Quran also mentions that whatever you love, whatever you wish, this wish is created as a promise that this wish is going to be definitely realized. But those people, the last paragraph and the section we read today, there is another paragraph, maybe Jennifer, the sociologists, the politicians, I think we can read this one as well, says what they think: we will get old and die and become a food for microbes. That is the alternative view. How terrible feelings they introduce, this approach introduces to human beings. We hate it. Now, for example, if there is, let's say, an ant on my hand, I can't stand it. I can't, go away, go away. But this ant is going to eat my body when I die. If it is the ultimate purpose of my existence to be eaten by worms and get completely rotten, how do you feel? You feel, I would hate the one who created me in these conditions if it was the case. even it may be in nature, it may be God, it may be an accident, whatever the interpretation I have, I would hate the source of my existence, whatever it is. Why? Are you joking with me? You let me enjoy this life, and now you are really treating me in a horrible way. Although when I die, they say, when I die, you won't feel it. No, you are not body. You will feel it. But your feelings will feel it. Your spirit will feel it. You are a human being. You are not body. You are a human being. So what makes you a human being is not your body. Animals have body as well. Every animal has different combinations of feelings. Human beings have different combinations of feelings. So what makes me human beings? My feelings, my spirit, my intellect, my consciousness. So when I think about my future, they say, when you die, you won't feel anything. No, how do you guarantee that? When I die, yes, my body doesn't function, but it doesn't mean that I will not function as a human being. No one can guarantee that I won't, I will not. The one who created me with this combination, body and spirit, guarantees that he will create another type of condition where your spirit will feel comfortable, where your spirit will entertain whatever he expects from his creator. Now, those people who don't believe in creator, they have no hope, only a horrible future. They are just cheating themselves, saying that when you die, you won't feel anything. Why? You are a human being. Your human side is not matter. If something is not matter, it doesn't die. Something is not matter, it doesn't die. It is given permanent existence. It must be given permanent existence because my spirit, no, my age is old, but my spirit never gets old. I would like to be like 20 years old young boy running and feeling everything perfect. This feeling is with me. How can my body produce this feeling? My body is better. You must be joking, I would say, these people. So you are contradicting yourself. When a person chooses the option that my creator, there is no creator, I am just accidentally happened to be here, and nature has provided me life, accidentally, of course, randomly, random happenings, and then nature is going to destroy me. Fair, okay. Now, what do? You have no expectations from nature. Nature cannot give you anything. Everybody knows it. Every human being knows that nature is not going to provide you anything apart from your body needs, no, not your spiritual needs. Why did I go into these details? As an answer, doesn't seem to be an answer to Sarah's question, but somehow prepares the background or really bedrock for thinking about the hereafter. We cannot imagine how new creation is going to be. Why? Because it is going to be a new type of existence. We have not experienced this thing, but what we see the signs in our feelings. Would you like to play with your 5-year-old daughter or son? Although she is 40, yes, I would. I am dreaming of it. That is my dream. So when they get old, they become really, okay, You don't know my father. Please, please, you stay at pie. Sit there. I will make you a coffee. So drink your coffee. So you don't understand the new word. You are an old school guy. And everything changed. And, it's very disappointing. But I would like them. This feeling guarantees that these expectations are going to be satisfied, not by nature, impossible, not by accident, that I happen to be, not by better, impossible, but my creator, yes, because my creator is the one who created the whole universe and my body and my human side. Everything, my intelligence was or given the ability to think that my creator can do it. And since he gave me the promise in my feelings, he will do it. So you will enjoy, don't bother, Sarah, how, because you and I don't know how, but the one who created us knows how. So don't worry about it. Leave it to our creator. He is the creator of the whole universe. Really trust in him. Why? He demonstrates that he can do it. He will do it, inshallah. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, Sarah. Also, I've seen your note.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. Does anyone else have any questions or comments on the text or from Dr. Ali?
Jennifer, do you have the last small short paragraph in your text?
Not on this, but I have it open here.
Yep. Yeah, you can just go and see from there. Yep. Second point. Yeah. The last paragraph. Can you just make it a bit bigger?
Yes. So the sociologists, politicians, and moralists who govern mankind and are concerned with its social and moral questions should be aware of this. How do they propose to fill this vacuum? With what can they cure these deep wounds?
It's a serious question, isn't it?
It really is.
Yes.
I don't, in this current age, I don't think politicians are thinking of this at all. Sociologists, moralists, I definitely have more vested in it. But are there enough people who are even listening?
I think we can speak to ourselves and just take care of our own responsibility.
Right.
We may not, everybody is free.
Yeah. So, what do people think about this question? What our classmates here have any thoughts on this? The sociologists, politicians, and moralists who govern mankind and are concerned with its social and moral questions should be aware of this. How do they propose to fill this vacuum? With what can they cure these deep wounds? How can they? How can they contribute in this? Does anybody have any ideas?
They are digging their own hole, if you like. So they say these religious people just, those believing people go after their wishful thinking, they are cheating themselves. But the reality is we are going to get rotten. We have to accept it. But would you like to, for example, anyone maybe those people who deny the Creator and ignore him just to try to explain everything in terms of matter, they are called the materialist philosophers, nowadays represented by materialist scientists or scientific interpretations, not sciences, but interpretations. Those people have no answer to it. We have to be, they say, realistic, and we have to accept that we are going to die. All right. For example, go and speak to these people. They are human beings. They have human values, although they don't really appreciate their human values, but they have, I know, and every one of us knows that they have human values. For example, 80 years old mother. This person has an 80 years old mother, and the mother is suffering from a certain illness. Do you think this materialist man, oh, okay, this is your reality, you have to suffer? No, they go to hospital, from hospital to another, until they are exhausted to find another source. They try their best. Why? Human beings love life. We love life. We don't want, even not yourself, your mother, 80 years old, come on, put them in the grave. Who does this? How against human nature to do that? Who can do that? I've never seen any really notorious atheist making propaganda every day on TV or YouTube channels using the social media, saying that religion is ridiculous, it's made up, it is just a storytelling or cheating people. They cannot put their 90 years old mother, while the mother is alive but suffering from certain illnesses, put into the grave or just burn it. Can they do it? I've never seen any of them doing it. Which kind of sense this is that given to human beings so that they cannot really accept that life is not worth after a certain age. What do they say? They say natural death must happen. Okay, we don't say that. We say when the Arabic word is ajal, the time, the time that God appointed time comes, you are taken away. Perfect. We understand. The one who gave the life will decide to take it away. That is his property. That's not my property. I am just the beneficent. But the one who benefits from it, beneficent, and
Beneficiary.
Yes. Recipient. He is given to me. I have no claim over it. Then he has the right to administer life as he wants. So that is why I believe in God, and I cannot put my 90 years old mother into the grave or throw it into the trash can, just dump it, saying that, okay, you are not enjoying life anymore, go and rot there. No, until I wait for death. And I try my best to avoid death. Why? The Creator made us love life, so we experience in this world that the life is going to end, but we say, no, it shouldn't be. And everything becomes old and not very pleasant. We want them perfect. For example, you may not notice my eyes, now I can see somehow, but in fact, I had an operation on them. Secret operation, everybody knows it. So I can see them because I want to see perfect. Although, as they call it, naturally, I cannot see perfect. but I look for a solution to see perfect. It means desiring, dying, yearning perfection is very human. That is what the news from our Creator. You will be given perfection, but you have to have the right address to make your petition. Who is going to give you? Who can give you perfect existence? Who can give you? Only the one who created you. Those people who deny it, they have no answer. They have to suffer from despair, absolute despair. That is their choice. We wish them not. We want them not to do that. But why do you torture yourself? But if they insist, freedom is given to everyone. So that is their responsibility. We have to take care of our responsibility. But one thing here at this crossroad now, I was going to do it. We don't hate them. We love them. If only they listen. If only they listen. We have been listening to them since the age of 5 in the secular education system. If you look at my life, until 35 years of age, I was studying in secular education institutions until the age of 35. Now, I say, look, I have been listening to you for 30 years. You couldn't really convince me. Just listen to me 30 seconds, 30 minutes. They don't. If they don't, they have to suffer. What shall I do? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Is anyone available for comment or questions? Okay. Shall I read on to the second point? Okay. The second point. This explains in summary form proof, one of many, proceeding from the testimony to the truth of resurrection of the other pillars of belief. It is as follows. All the miracles indicating the messengership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the evidences for his prophethood and all the proofs of his veracity together testify to the occurrence of the resurrection and prove it. For after divine unity, everything he claimed throughout his life was centered on the resurrection of the dead. Also, all his miracles and proofs affirming and making affirmed all the previous prophets attest to the same truth. Also, the testimony of the phrase and his scriptures, which makes completely clear the testimony of the phrase and in his prophets, testifies to the same truth, like this. All the miracles, truths, and proofs proving foremost the veracity of the Quran, of the miraculous exposition, testify to and prove the realization and occurrence of resurrection. For almost a third of the Quran is about its resurrection, and at the beginning of most of its short surahs are powerful verses about it. It expresses the same truth explicitly and implicitly with thousands of its verses and proves and demonstrates it. For example, when the sun is folded up, O men, fear your sustainer. The trembling of the hour is an awesome event. When the earth is convulsed, when the heavens are torn asunder, when the heavens are torn apart, concerning what they dispute, has the story reached you of the overwhelming event? Besides demonstrating with complete certainty at the beginning of 30 or 40 surahs that resurrection is the most important and necessary truth in the universe, it sets forth various persuasive evidences for that truth in others of its verses. Is there any possibility that belief in the hereafter should be false? which emerges like the sun from the thousands of declarations and statements of a book. A single indication of one of the verses of which has yielded before our eyes the fruits of numerous learned and cosmic truths in the Islamic sciences? Is there any possibility of denying the sun or the existence of the universe? Would it not be impossible and absurd? Is it at all possible that although an army may sometimes be plunged into battle so that a mere sign of the king should not be given the lie, to show as false the thousands of words, promises, and threats of that most serious, proud monarch? Is it possible that they should be false? Although a single sign of that glorious spiritual monarch who for 13 centuries without break has ruled over innumerable spirits, minds, hearts, and souls within the bounds of truth and reality, and trained and raised them, would be sufficient to prove the truth of resurrection. It has demonstrated it with thousands of explicit statements. Is the torment of hellfire not necessary then for the compounded idiot who does not recognize this fact? Is it not pure justice? Moreover, by their definite acceptance of the truth of resurrection, which the Quran, prevailing over the future and all times, repeatedly proves in detail, elucidates, and all the revealed scriptures and sacred books, each of which dominated a particular period, proved it according to their own times. And centuries, but in undetailed, veiled summary and a summary manner, confirming with 1,000 signatures what the Quran teaches. Included here, since it is related to this discussion, is a testimony at the end of the third ray of the other pillars of faith, and particularly the prophets and holy scriptures, to belief in the last day. It forms a convincing proof of resurrection and is in the form of a powerful yet succinct supplication which dispels all doubts. It says in the supplication, "O my compassionate sustainer, I have understood from the instruction of your noble messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the teaching of the Quran, that foremost the Quran and the messenger and all the sacred scriptures and prophets have unanimously testified and pointed out that the manifestations of the names related to your beauty and glory, examples of which are to be seen in this world, will continue even more radiantly for all eternity, and that your bounties, samples of which are to be observed in this transitory world, will continue in the abode of bliss in more glittering fashion, and that those who long for them in this world will accompany them for all eternity. Also relying on hundreds of evident miracles and decisive signs, foremost your most noble messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all the wise Quran and the prophets with their luminous spirits and saints who are spiritual poles with their light-filled hearts, and the purified scholars with their enlightened intellects, relying on your repeated threats and promises in all the sacred scriptures, and trusting in your sacred attributes like power, mercy, favor, wisdom, glory, and beauty, and on your functions, and the dignity of your glory, and the sovereignty of your dominicality, and consequence of their illuminations and visions and beliefs at the knowledge of certainty. Give the glad tidings to men and jinn of eternal happiness, and inform them of hell for the people of misguidance. They firmly believe this and testify to it. O all-powerful and wise one, O merciful and compassionate, O munificent, the one true to his promise, O all-compelling, one of glory, one of dignity, grandeur, and wrath, you are utterly exempt from and exalted above giving the lie to so many loyal friends and so many promises and attributes and functions, and denying the certain demands of the sovereignty of your dominicality, and the endless prayers and supplications of your innumerable acceptable servants, whom you love and attract your love by assenting to you and obeying you, and you are exempt from confirming the denial of resurrection by the people of misguidance and unbelief, who through their disbelief and rebellion and denial of your promises offend the magnificence of your grandeur and affront your dignity and glory and the honor of your Godhead, and sadden the compassion of your dominicality. We declare your justice, beauty, and mercy to be exempt from such infinite tyranny, such ugliness. We believe with all our strength that the testimony of the prophets, purified scholars, and saints, who are those truthful envoys of yours, those heralds of your sovereignty, at the degrees of absolute certainty, knowledge of certainty, and the vision of certainty, to the treasuries of your mercy in the hereafter and the stores of your bounties in the everlasting realm, and to the wondrously beautiful manifestations of your beautiful names, which will be manifested totally in the abode of bliss, are absolutely true and veracious, and what they have indicated conforms absolutely with reality, and that what they have given glad tidings of is true and will occur. Believing that the supreme ray, your name of truth, which is the source, son, and protector of all realities, is this truth of the resurrection and great gathering, they teach it to your servants. O God, for the sake of what they teach and in veneration of it, grant us and all students of the Rasal-i-Nur perfect belief and happy death, and allow us to receive their intercession. Ameen. Moreover, just as all the proofs demonstrating the veracity of revealed scriptures and all the miracles and evidences proving the prophethood of God's beloved, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all of the prophets indirectly prove the reality of the hereafter, which is what they teach above all else. So much of the evidences for the existence and unity of the necessary existent testify indirectly to the existence and opening up of eternal realm of bliss, which will be the supreme manifestation of dominicality and divinity. For it, as is explained and proved in the following paragraphs, both the existence and the necessarily existent one, and most of his attributes, functions, and names like dominicality, Godhead, mercy, grace, wisdom, and justice, necessitate the hereafter with the utmost certainty and demand an eternal realm and the resurrection of the dead and the last judgment for the granting of reward and punishment. Since there is pre-eternal and post-eternal God, most certainly there is the hereafter, the everlasting means of the sovereignty of his Godhead. And since there is in the universe and in living beings a most majestic, wise, and compassionate absolute dominicality, and it's apparent there is certain to be an eternal realm of happiness, which will save the majesty of that dominicality from abasement, its wisdom from purposelessness, and its compassion from cruelty, and that realm shall be entered. And since the unlimited bestowals, bounties, favors, gifts, and instances of grace and mercy which are to be seen, show to minds that are not extinguished and hearts that are not dead, that behind the veil of the unseen is one all merciful and compassionate. Surely there is an immortal life in an eternal realm, which will save the bestowal from mockery, the bounties from deception, the favors from enmity, and the mercy from torment, and the grace and gifts from treachery, and will make the bounties bounty and the bestowal bestowal. And since in the springtime, on the narrow page of the earth, a pen of power writes 100,000 books without error tirelessly before our eyes, and since the holder of the pen has promised 100,000 times, I am going to write a fine, immortal book in a broad realm, easier than this book of the spring, which is written in this narrow realm, confused and intermingled, and I shall allow you to read it. He mentions the book and all his decrees. Certainly, the main part of the book has been written, and with the resurrection and last judgment, its footnotes shall be added, and all the notebooks of people's actions shall be recorded in it. And since with its multiplicity of creatures, and its being the dwelling source, factory, exhibition, and gathering place of hundreds of thousands of constantly changing species of living beings and beings with spirits, and the heart, center, summary, and result of the universe, and the reason for its creation, the earth has supreme importance and is held equal to the mighty heavens, despite its smallness in the heavenly decrees. It is always said, sustainer of the heavens and the earth. And since there is man who rules over the earth, which is thus has disposal over most creatures and subjects most living beings, gathering them around himself, and so orders, displays, and gathers each remarkable species together in one place like a list, adorning them, that he attracts not only the attention and admiration of men and jinn, but of the dwellers of the heavens and the universe, and the appreciative gaze of the universe's owner, thus gaining great importance and high worth, and who shows through his sciences and arts that he is the purpose of the universe's creation and most important result and most precious fruit and the vicegerent of the earth, and who, because with respect to this world, he has ordered and displayed excellently the miraculous arts of the world's maker, is left in this world despite his rebellion and disbelief, and whose punishment is postponed, and because of this work of his, whose term is prolonged and is allowed success. And since there is an extremely powerful, wise, and compassionate disposer who makes the mighty globe into a treasury of every sort of metal and mineral that man needs in a way entirely beyond his strength and will, who despite being weak, impotent, and wanting by nature and creation, has innumerable needs and is subject to innumerable pains, and a store of every sort of food, and a shop stocking goods of every kind that pleases man, and looks to man in this way and nurtures him and gives him what he wants. And since there is a sustainer who both loves man and causes man to love him, and who is enduring and has eternal worlds, and who performs every work with justice and carries out everything with wisdom. And since the splendor of that pre-eternal sovereign's rule and his eternal rule cannot be contained in this brief worldly life, and in man's fleeting span, and in the temporary and transient earth. And since the excessive wrongdoings and rebellion that occur among men, which are contrary to and opposed to the universe's order, justice, balance, and beauty, and their denial, treachery, and disbelief towards their benefactor, who nurtures them tenderly, are not punished in this world, and the cruel oppressor passes his life in ease, while the unhappy oppressed live in hardship. And since the absolute justice whose traces are to be seen throughout the universe is entirely opposed to the cruel tyrant and despairing oppressed being, equal in death, and would in no way permit it. And since just as the universe's owner has chosen the earth from its universe and man from the earth and bestowed on him a high rank and importance, so out of mankind, he has chosen the prophets, saints, and purified ones, true human beings who conform to the aims of his dominicality, and through their belief and submission, make him love them. He has taken them as friends and addressees, and bestowed miracles and success on them, and punished their enemies with heavenly blows. And out of these worthy and lovable friends, he has chosen their leader of source of pride, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for long centuries has illuminated with this light half the globe and a fifth of humanity, as though the universe was created for him. All its purposes become apparent through him and his religion and the Quran. And although he deserved to live for an infinite time in recompense for his infinitely valuable service for millions of years, he only lived a brief 63 years of great hardship and striving. Is there any possibility then that he should not be resurrected together with all his peers and friends, that they should not now be living in the spirit, that they should have been annihilated eternally? God forbid, 100,000 times. Yes, all the universe and the reality of the world demand that he should be resurrected, and they beseech the universe's owner that he should be living. And since in the seventh ray, the supreme sign, each with the strength of a mountain, the 33 powerful consensuses have proved that the universe emerged from a single hand and is the property of a single being, and have demonstrated self-evidently his unity and oneness, the means of the divine perfections, and through unity and oneness, all beings become like soldiers under orders and subservient officials. And with the coming of the hereafter, perfections are saved from decline, absolute justice from mocking cruelty, universal wisdom from foolish absurdity, all embracing mercy from jeering torment, and this dignity of power from abased impotence, and they are exonerated from this. Certainly and without any doubt, as necessitated by the truths in these six senses, 6 out of the hundreds of points of belief in God, at the end of the world shall come, and the resurrection of the dead occur. Abodes of reward and punishment shall be thrown open, so that the above mentioned importance of the earth and its centrality and man's importance and value shall be realized. And the above mentioned justice, wisdom, mercy, and sovereignty of the all-wise disposer, who is creator of the earth and of man, and their sustainer, shall be established. And the true and yearning friends of that eternal sustainer shall be saved from eternal annihilation. And the most eminent and worthy of these friends receive the recompense for his sacred services, which have made all beings pleased and indebted. And the perfections of the eternal sovereign shall be exempted and exonerated from all fault and deficiency, and his power from impotence, and his wisdom from foolishness, and his justice from tyranny. In short, since God exists, so does the hereafter certainly exist. Moreover, just as with all the evidences that prove them, the above 3 pillars of belief testify to and indicate resurrection, so do the 2 pillars, and in the angels and the divine determining that both the good of it and the evil of it are from God Almighty, also necessitate resurrection and testify in powerful fashion to the eternal realm. It is like this. All the evidences proving the existence of the angels and their duties of worship, and innumerable observations of them and conversations with them, prove indirectly the existence of the spirit world and the world of the unseen, and the eternal realm and world of the hereafter, and existence of an abode of happiness and paradise and hell, which in the future shall be populated with men and jinn. For the divine permission, the angels can see these worlds and enter them. And all the high-ranking angels who meet with humans like Jibril tell unanimously of the existence of these worlds, and of their traveling around them. Just as we are certain, due to the information of those coming from there, that the continent of America exists, although we have not seen it, so due to information about the angels, which has the strength of 100-fold consensus, we should believe in the existence of the world of eternity, the realm of the hereafter, and paradise and hell with the same certainty, and thus we do believe in it. Wait 1 second, I need a sip. Furthermore, all the evidence is proving the pillar of belief in divine determining, included in the treaty on divine determining, the 26th word, prove indirectly the resurrection of the dead and balancing of deeds on the supreme scales, and the publishing of pages of deeds. For the recording before our eyes of the appointed course of all things on the tablets of order and balance, and the inscribing of the life stories of all living beings in their faculties of memory, and the transcribing of the notebooks of deeds of all beings with spirits, and especially men, on the preserved tablet, such a comprehensive determining and wise apportioning and precise recording and preserving inscription could surely only be the result of a general judgment in supreme tribunal set up to mete out permanent reward and punishment. That comprehensive and precise recording, oh, I'm sorry, it's meti, isn't it? I'm not familiar with that word. That comprehensive and precise recording and preservation would otherwise be completely meaningless and purposeless and contrary to wisdom and reality. Also, if there was no resurrection, all the certain meanings of the book of the universe, written with the pen of the divine determining, would be nullified, which is completely impossible. It is impossible as denying the universe's existence. Indeed, it is a delirium. In short, the 5 pillars of belief demand with all their evidences the occurrences of the resurrection and last judgment and their existence and the existence and opening up of the realm of the hereafter, and they testify to these and necessitate them. Thus, it is because there are such vast and unshakable supports and proofs of the resurrection, completely in conformity with its vastness, that almost 1/3 of the Quran of miraculous exposition is formed by resurrection and the hereafter, and makes it the basis of foundation of stone of all its truths and constructs everything on it.
Thank you. It's a beautiful reading. And I think we can stop here now. The time is really up, and we can start from the second part of the Dandam next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for joining us and really just presenting your ideas. MashaAllah. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy. Inshallah, you can moderate another class again whenever you feel comfortable about it. So next week, inshallah, next week we can start from the second part of the Dandam, inshallah. So thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So let's close today's class, the discussion. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله